Welcome to another episode of Jay's Sideline. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to the wives, the F&S family. This episode today, I'm going to talk about what was just witnessed last night with the performance of my team on Monday Night Football. It's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna sound rantish, but I'm gonna keep it as real as possible with my team. My team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's my hometown. So that's what the basis of the subject is gonna be around. It's gonna be more so about them. I'm gonna give flowers to the Bills though. Josh Allen, right now, he is definitely putting on, in my opinion, his best football that he's played since he's came into the NFL. Not having that superstar weapon to throw the ball to, but he's making accurate throws, making the right decisions, buying time still with his mobility. Like, his mobility is still enough of a factor. Even though he ain't have to do it much last night, he did it in some critical moments, like on some third and longs. He did it in some critical moments. I wouldn't say critical for them, but it was just on some third and longs to keep the drives going and stuff like that. He definitely spread the ball around, made it look easy. The offensive line over there, they didn't give up anything. Even when blitzes was being sent, they was getting picked up enough to give Josh Allen the time to release the ball and go where he wanted to go with it. There wasn't too many plays that they had last night that resulted in no yards or negative yards. Almost all of their plays was progress going down the field. And they had their first, five drives. The 5 drives that they had in the first half all resulted in touchdowns. That is perfection at its finest. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns. And you know what also happened? 5 times that they stopped the other team from doing almost anything. 5 drives. That was a complete domination performance by the Buffalo Bills. Now I'm going to get to the Jaguars. How embarrassing could you be? Like, that was the worst game of football that I've watched under Doug Peterson being the head coach. The worst game of football. We lost in every single phase of the game. Every single phase of the game. And I'm going to break that down because ever since Travis Etienne fumbled the football in Miami, the offense has not been able to recover in the slightest sense. I got my opinions as to the reason why. But I'm gonna break it down by the latest, bro. I do believe that the team is a reflection of the coach. Also a reflection of the organization, the guys in the office that's making the decisions with the pen. Now, Doug Peterson, he has proved that he is a good coach in this league. He was the head coach for Philly. when they won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady with Nick Foles, the backup quarterback that had to come in when Carson Wentz had that season-ending injury. So he knows how to put a team together. He knows what success looks like. And right now, it's just not happening in Jacksonville. Why is that? I do believe that a lot of that is, one, the owner, Shad Khan. A very successful businessman when he got the team. Money, he's another one of those. He's a Middle Eastern man, owner. Money like crazy. So money is not an issue. Jacksonville is not one of those teams that have multiple owners in them. This is just one owner. So I'm starting with him because his hiring decisions have not been the greatest. And as far as this current regime is concerned, this current regime, he hired general manager Trent Baalke, who was the general manager for the 49ers, which is anything attached to the San Francisco 49ers over the past, the greater portion of 2 decades, you would think means something really good. But here's the issue with Trent Baalke. Trent was the general manager for the 49ers when they were on their downfall. And back when John Harbaugh was, or is it Jim Harbaugh, back when Jim Harbaugh was still over there coaching, they had still Colin Kaepernick was there. This was back in the taking the knee during the national anthem days, that kind of stuff. Trent Baalke rubs people the wrong way inside the organization. And that's kind of starting to be rumors that I'm hearing going on. One of the rumors that I heard was that Doug Peterson wanted to address the offensive line in the draft at a higher spot. In the second round, Doug Peterson wanted to draft the offensive lineman. Trent Baalke, he drafts defensive tackle Mason Smith from LSU. No shot against Mason Smith, but that is one of the areas where the office needs to be on the same page with the coaches. It's kind of like what Bill Parcells said when he was the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones was over there being Jerry Jones. Parcells made a simple statement, but it's 100% true when I'm the coach. If you want me to cook the meal, let me buy the groceries. Simple. If Doug Peterson wanted an offensive lineman, why not get him what he needs? He's telling you what he needs in order to win. He's telling you. So why not listen to him? On top of that, the players that Trent has been drafting, he has not done nothing too impressive here. At all. He has not done nothing too impressive here. I would say the best decision that was made as far as him bringing players in, it's kind of hard to think about it, but probably the best decision that was made probably this past offseason was bringing in former 49ers defensive lineman Eric Armstead, just to provide the defensive line with some sort of depth, some interior presence. Even though he came over here pretty much recovering from a serious injury. And if you know anything about serious injuries in professional sports, when players have serious injuries, they don't immediately, most of the time, they don't immediately just return to the top caliber player that they was, or the type of player that they was immediately when playing with that injury. They got to get back into playing football with that body part that allows them to be complete. Not that he's played terrible or anything like that, but we just haven't really felt his presence the way we was hoping to. But that's no shot against him, because there's bigger problems. So I'm gonna start with the defensive side of the ball. For the first 2 weeks of this season, against the Miami Dolphins and against the Cleveland Browns, you can say that the defense pretty much did their job. They limited the other team's offense to scoring 20 points, 17 points. Anytime a defense can do that, essentially you should have a chance to win the game. Because you're telling your offense, you just got to score 3 touchdowns, player. If you score 3 touchdowns, we win this game. Now, given the performance last night, talked about the Bills just pretty much being perfect, fundamentally sound. Everything that can go right went right. Nothing that can go wrong went wrong for them. The defense dealing with injuries. This shows the lack of depth that Jacksonville has. 2 starting defensive backs started off not being able to play in this game. Our number 1 cornerback, Tyson Campbell, and our number 1 strong safety, Darnell Savage, started not playing the game. So we already not in the best of shoes going on the road playing in Buffalo. Then early in the game, our number 1 nickel corner, Jerry Jones, he gets hurt, out for the game. We are not equipped to handle those kind of injuries and still have impactful play at those positions. We're not. So we behind the 8 ball there. But this is where you would think your better players that you do have on the team, because we do have some good players. You can count them with one hand. We do have some good players to where their play should speak loudly during the game. And that's where my disappointment is the most for the defense. In the offseason, we paid Josh Allen, our version of him. His name's changed to Josh Hines Allen, defensive end. Defensive edge player. Had 17 and a half sacks or something like that last year. So you would think that a guy like this would have some sort of a presence, cause some sort of pressures. I'm starting with him because he's the best player on the defense, supposedly. This dude, I couldn't even tell that he was on the field. He did absolutely nothing. And he normally has a good game against Buffalo. Look back at the last couple of years, Jacksonville has beat Buffalo. Back when they had better teams than this, Jacksonville has beat Buffalo. He didn't get no pressure. Didn't make no plays when they mattered. Didn't stuff no runs. Nothing. Like, I'm sitting here like, yo, where you at? Like, you just got paid too. You ain't the only one that, like, you need to be held to a high standard. me personally, I've never really been on Josh Hines Allen being looked at as elite. Especially at the pass rusher and defensive end position. The elite guys, I'm going to just say a few. I ain't going to go through them all. But the elite guys on the edge in this league: Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, you can say Rashawn Gary. He's starting to enter in that area. I mean, he's still got some proving to do. Aiden Hutchinson. These are guys that, even though they may not get the sack, you feel their presence in the game because you have those plays. Or, oh, dang, man, he was almost there. Or he's getting double teamed and they have to make sure that they know where he's at. Josh Allen is not that dude. He is not that guy. He is not that guy. Josh Hines Allen is not that guy. Because even last year when he had his 17 and whatever sacks, there was a whole lot of times throughout the game where you wouldn't feel his presence. But those guys that I just named, it's like you barely go through a defensive series without feeling their presence. They do something. They wreak havoc some way, somehow. That's not Josh Hines Allen. So that's him. The next best player on the team, Foyesade Oluokun. I hope I said that name right. But he's a linebacker, tackling machine. He led the league in tackles for 3 or 4 years straight. Yeah, man, I think even he got hurt in a period in that game. His presence, you felt it more just because he had to make tackles. But for him to be looked at as elite, I don't look at him as elite. Just because you lead in tackles, that don't mean that you're elite to me. You know, that just means you know how to tackle. That's what that means to me. You know how to tackle. And he's solid. Don't get it twisted. He's solid. He's a good player. He's just not no elite player. But in these kind of moments when your defense is going in down, players like him, you want them to make some sort of a play that at least gets the defense off the field. Some sort of play to where he's helping everybody else on the defense get in the right spots because he's a vet. You want him to make some sort of play that says, look, you need to be over here. This is what's coming. My film study said they like to do this. So we got to do this part. Something like that, right? We didn't get nothing like that from him. Those are really the only really two good top tier players on the defense. Not even top tier, but good players on the defense. Devin Lloyd is another linebacker that's showing he's actually starting to have a good year. He didn't play that great last night, but throughout the first 2 games, he's looking like he's starting to turn the corner to be a good linebacker in this league. But he's not somebody that the defense isn't scared of going against, especially in coverage and passing downs. He didn't make no plays. But the most disappointing player on the defense, as far as the young developmental players is concerned, the first overall pick, Trayvon Walker. First overall pick. I'm going to say that a couple of times because you need to understand something here. This goes back to Trent Baalke and the general manager making decisions. I don't know exactly who wanted what during the draft. But Trayvon Walker was chosen first overall over Aiden Hutchinson. It sounds a whole lot worse now than what it did the night of the draft. Because we see Aiden Hutchinson has already established himself in this league. Trayvon Walker, he has the physical traits to be a dominant player in this league, which is what they drafted him for. He had all the physical traits. He just didn't have the production behind it. Trayvon Walker is bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. He flashed some of his talents throughout the course of his 3 years being in the NFL. But that's all he did was flash. Like he'll make some crazy play and then he'll be non-existent. Me personally, when that draft was happening, I wanted Aiden Hutchinson because Aiden Hutchinson was a more proven prospect on the defensive line at being a pass rusher, run stuffer, leader of the defense, one-man wrecking crew. He was that. Trayvon Walker, he was just a physical freak on a loaded Georgia defense. Loaded. And he still did not have the kind of production that warrants first pick overall in the draft. Now, if you didn't want Aiden Hutchinson, you could have went somewhere else. You could have got an offensive lineman. You could have got a wide receiver. Shoot, you could have even got a tight end. I don't care. You could have got a corner. You could have got anything else. You could have got anything else. But you chose this player. He has not earned the right to be the first overall pick in college. And he has not earned the right to be called a good player in the NFL. He's solid. He's okay. You know, the main thing that Trayvon Walker does is he stops the run from coming to his side. That's the main thing that he does. Trust me, being a Jaguar fan, I watch the games. I watch every game look, man. That decision right there haunts Jacksonville right now. Because if you was to pair Aiden Hutchinson with Josh Allen would look a whole lot better. But, you know, ain't no point of playing that game now because it is what it is. But I need to talk about the offense. The offensive line, they next to terrible, dog. The offensive line does not win the line of scrimmage at all. At all. We don't create running lanes like that. Trevor doesn't have time to throw the ball. And trust me, I'm going to get to Trevor. There's nothing elite that exists on this team. Alright? I'm going to tell y'all that right now. There's nothing elite that exists on this team. We have players that have chances to be elite, but they themselves aren't consistent enough to be called elite. They can just be called good players. That's all they can be called. And this offensive line, ain't nothing elite about them. You can just watch Miami, Cleveland, and now Buffalo. Trevor doesn't have time to think twice when it comes to throwing the ball. He does not have time to go through all the progressions. Now, the other thing too about this team is the receivers have also dropped the ball. Last night a stat came up. I screenshotted it and I sent it to my family. Jacksonville has the most dropped passes in the NFL since 2021. The most dropped passes in the NFL since 2021. That means ever since Trevor Lawrence came into this league, his wide receivers been dropping passes. The players have not helped when things do go right. When Trevor does have time. When Trevor does make an accurate throw. And it hits him right in the hands. And you can go back and look at the games and see some of this. The ball would hit the players right in the hands. And they would drop it, tip it in the air, and it would turn into an interception. So not every turnover is the quarterback's fault. And in this case, all those drops don't do nothing for an offense like this who doesn't have nothing elite to rely on. Tight end, Evan Ingram was hurt, didn't play. Maybe the offense would have looked a little bit different if he would have played. Because he's had some good years with Jacksonville, but he himself is somebody that doesn't have reliable hands. He dropped his fair share of balls. He caught some though. That's the part of the reason why he had good years with Jacksonville. He's caught some. Christian Kirk had a really good year last year, but this year he's had some drops too, critical drops on third down. It's like, bro, we trying to keep the drive going. Ball hits you in the hands and you dropped it. So Jacksonville addresses the wide receiver position this offseason, right? Draft first round pick was Brian Thomas Jr. I like that pick. He's looking like he could be elite in this league. Because he's the one that has the deadly speed. He's the one that's hard to tackle. You seen it even last night in that total domination of a loss. He had some plays there where he was just not going to go down easy. Like, you had to work to tackle this dude. So he's a bright spot. Travis Etienne, he didn't have a good game neither. You know, I mean, part of that, he didn't have nowhere to go. The offensive line couldn't create nothing for him. He didn't have nowhere to go. But I'm going to get on Trevor Lawrence now. Trevor Lawrence, he has all the traits. He has all the skills to be elite in this league. True, he has not been given a fair shake. And what I mean by that is he has not been surrounded, or he has not had the talent around him for him to display his talents. No elite receivers. No protection up front. No running game to consistently rely on. No defense that can get him the ball back. At least last night it wasn't no defense. The first two games it was the case. And Also, our offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, I am of the campaign that he should get fired. I'm not a fan. Let me tell y'all some of the foolishness that I heard about what's been going on with the coordinating responsibilities. It's called play calling. They've been splitting halves, where Press Taylor will call one half and Doug Peterson will call the other half. Tell me you don't want to be successful without telling me you don't want to be successful. Who does that? That was a rumor last year. And this year, the offense has struggled to score. That's been the story this year. Everything almost looks like a struggle. Play calling is predictable. Look, man. The best thing that I can say about last night's play calling was that it made an effort to get Brian Thomas the ball. That's the best thing that can be said about that. There was definitely effort made to get Brian Thomas the ball. So I am in agreement with that. Now, Trevor Lawrence. It's not an excuse that you don't have the best supporting cast around you. Because I believe that if you are really that good, and you say you are that good, and then they paid him like he's that good, it should be pretty obvious that you are not the problem. It should be. Trevor Lawrence, he had one terrible play last night. One terrible play that helped usher this beatdown. Brian Thomas cutting across the middle of the field wide open. And Trevor throws it high to where Brian Thomas has to try to jump to catch it. But it's too high for him to even touch it. And it falls right into the hands of the safety, Damar Hamlin. Bruh. Those are the throws that can't happen. Those are the throws that can't happen for any kind of defense of Trevor Lawrence to be justified. Trevor Lawrence can't have those kind of throws. When he's wide open, you got to hit him in the numbers. For you guys to understand quarterback accuracy, the easiest way to tell, look at how the wide receiver has to catch the ball. If he has to contort his body some special way to catch the ball, if he has to jump to catch the ball, if he has to do anything special outside of running in stride to catch the ball, that tells you how accurate a quarterback is. And not saying that jump balls can't be done on purpose, because sometimes those kind of throws happen in order for a play to be made, because they will take advantage of players having this 40-inch vertical going up against a matchup that can't really jump that high. So now he can even be there to make a play, but what we gonna do is we gonna make it a jump ball for him to not be able to, defend the catch. But that's the one terrible play that, things was already looking bad. But that's the one terrible play that killed any momentum or any chance of righting the ship to look competitive. So this is not something that that is acceptable for him, especially after getting paid the way he did. To get paid like that and then to do this, to have that kind of a throw, it's going to stand out to everybody. That kind of a throw is going to stand out to everybody because they're going to just look dead at that and they're going to be like, see, he's not that good. But they're going to ignore the fact that he was dealing with no protection, wide receivers dropping the ball. They're going to ignore that fact. Can't blame them. Because there's enough plays like that happens that one time throughout the game that tilts the game into the other team's favor when games are close. He hadn't done it this year so far. This was his first interception. He took care of the ball for the first 2 games until that. Now, the thing about Trevor Lawrence is he does show on at least a little bit more consistent basis that he has the tools to be elite. Trevor Lawrence will have 2 or 3 throws throughout the game where it's like, dang, boy, he fit that in there. That was a tight, that was an accurate throw. That was a crazy, that was an amazing throw. He will have those 2 or 3 throws per game where it's like, dog, you see why they drafted him first overall. You see why he got the hype behind him. We just got to get rid of that one play. Whether it be the bad throw interception, whether it be not properly taking care of the ball when you're running and holding it properly and you get hit and you fumble it. That one bad decision that'll happen. Like those kind of things got to get eliminated. Now, that's easier said than done because no quarterback, no matter who they are, makes the right decision all game long. No quarterback, no matter who they are. It's just, it doesn't always result in bad things. Sometimes it's just broken up by the defender. Sometimes it's a fortunate drop of an interception. Sometimes it's just a wildly overthrown ball. Sometimes the quarterback and the wide receiver are not on the same page, and so it can look like a certain way. And some of those things Trevor Lawrence has been a victim of too. Like last year, the rumor with Calvin Ridley. He was running the wrong routes. No shot to Calvin Ridley, man. Calvin Ridley, he's a player that I like, but Calvin Ridley was a player that was out the league for 2 years for gambling. So he didn't play football for 2 whole years. I would expect that something would be off, especially when you go to a new team than the one that you played for, Atlanta. So, listen, look. Trevor, I still believe that he can be a quarterback of this team, but right now he's a quarterback that needs help from his supporting cast. Mainly, he needs help from the offensive line to give him a chance. Because in that third quarter, even in last night's game, Trevor Lawrence was looking sharp. In that third quarter, he was looking sharp. I think he went 9 for 11 on the touchdown drive. So it is there. But you have to wonder, does this point back to the coaching? Does this point back to Press Taylor? Does this point to the quarterback's coach? Because for you to have a talented quarterback like Trevor, look, if anybody needs a refresher on who Trevor Lawrence, what he's capable of being, because what got him drafted was his career at Clemson. If anybody has any questions, any doubts about that, just go back and look at Clemson when Trevor Lawrence was there. He was part of that team that beat Alabama in the championship. He was the starting quarterback as a freshman that beat Alabama in the national championship. That was Trevor Lawrence. He had the surroundings around him. He was on one of the best teams in college football. T. Higgins was over there. Travis Etienne was over there. It can happen with Trevor Lawrence. It can happen. But right now, he just might be the quarterback that needs the help from everybody else in order for him to make it happen. There's nothing wrong with that. If that is the truth with his case, then the team should adjust and do what they need to do to bring the talent around him. But if you keep giving him nothing to really do to put on his talents, and you expect him to be a Patrick Mahomes, you expect him to be a Josh Allen from last night, you expect him to be a Aaron Rodgers, if you doing that with him and you expect it, you setting him up for failure. So Jacksonville themselves has not done right by Trevor Lawrence. True, he has not played to the level that he needs to play at in order to warrant the top. But we had flashes. We had that season. The first year with Doug Peterson, we had that season where we made the playoffs with Trevor Lawrence, and he was looking like he was about to turn that corner. He was listed as one of the top 100 players for 2 years straight. One of the top 100 players voted on by the players. So people recognize game. People recognize potential. What else? What else can be said, man? Last night definitely is going to be one of those games where it's going to be some hard looking in the mirror that need to be done, because to start off the season 0-3, we most likely not going to make the playoffs, dog. I looked at our schedule last night. We're going to be a sub 500 team. And it needs to happen. It needs to happen. When you got a bad team together, it needs to happen. I've said it in my family chats for so long. Jacksonville has maintained the commitment to mediocre players for whatever reason. Maybe because they're nice guys. Maybe because they're good people. But they are just not great football players. Whatever the case is, like I said, there is nothing elite on this team. There's nothing elite on this team. But the players that have a chance to be elite, coached right, with the players doing their job around them. Offense, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, wide receiver Brian Thomas. Those are the three guys. The three guys that have a chance to be elite on that offense. Defense, Devin Lloyd, Andre Cisco. He has a chance to be elite. He made some plays coming up and breaking up passes and whatnot, but he's a safety. The game is won on the line of scrimmage. So when the line of scrimmage looks bad, he's going to look bad. But if the line of scrimmage can look good, he can look good. He's the one that picked off Patrick Mahomes last year in the first home game of the season. Read the route and picked it off. And that's the kind of safety that he is. He'll play that center field real good. But that only matters when you can get when you can win up front. That's when that matters. Which is right now, it might be worth it to just move off of him, send him somewhere else, let somebody else do that in order to get some better trench play. That's not something that I really, really want to do. But you got to build your team right. The Detroit Lions, shout out to Detroit. I love Detroit. But the Detroit Lions is the definition of a team being built the right way. They valued the trenches first before they went and got all the sexy players. Look at that offensive line. Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker. All these guys first-round picks. First-round picks. Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive side of the ball. I want them to get somebody else to pair with him. But yeah. I'm not much on Tyson Campbell, even though he's our number one corner. I don't think he has a chance to be elite. But Devin Lloyd has a chance to be elite. That's about it. Him and Andre Cisco. That's about it. So, that's what I got for today. That's what I got for this morning. Hope y'all enjoyed the listen. One of the things that I will be doing, though, I will be doing a review. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing like a weekly review, going over what happened across the league. Probably gonna start that next week. Of course, be on the lookout for more things coming with the FNS podcast team. But that's it for today. Gotta go to work. Pulled up. Y'all have a good day. Peace.